Happy Easter, snitches! Just kidding. Hey guys, happy Easter. I'm here, you're here, and that means it's time for a video. Either detailing a crazy event, offering some information, or giving you a little bit of perspective here. How are we feeling today? Today in Costa Rica, it is like a gloomy day. Like I was waiting for the sun to come out and it just didn't. It was like, nah, I'm good, you guys got this. I don't know what the lighting's about to be, but this is what you're gonna get. Do you like my shirt? It has cats on it. Meow. Today, you know, it was really weird. I was sitting here in my house in Costa Rica alone and being like, it would have been a little less lonely in Vietnam. So then I started going down this like hole of like the things I miss about Vietnam, and then I realized that I miss things about Vietnam, which I never thought would be a thing. And now we have a video. The video is the 5 best things about living in Vietnam and the 5 worst things about living in Vietnam. From my perspective only. Trolls, again, my perspective. You can't fight me on my opinion. Good luck. I was sure I could never in a million years make a video telling you some good things about Vietnam. Not because I hated Vietnam, but because I had like an allergic reaction to it. But in the end, look at that. Here I am, telling you some good stuff. In my time there though, there were some really good things and some really bad things. And this is my pick for the top 5 good things and the top 5 not so good things. Listen up for the #1 positive thing because I think it's going to actually surprise a lot of you. But hey guys, yeah, I'm gonna let you finish the video. I know you're in the middle of the video, but I kind of need you right now. So I'm gonna do a Q&A at the end of the month. So in all of my videos leading up to the Q&A, I'm gonna ask you guys to email me or post in the comment section questions that you want me to answer. And I'm gonna do a Q&A either live or recorded for answering all those questions. Okay, you can go now. I'm gonna start with the 5 negative things actually because I wanna end with the positive things. So the 5 negative things for me specifically as someone who lived in Hanoi, Vietnam for almost 24 months. The number 5 thing that I would say was the most negative would be honestly the expats. And I know that's weird, but not all of them, it's just some of them. Like sometimes it was just cringe-worthy interactions with expats. Like yes, like you make a lot of money there and you are, you know, you make a lot of money in Asia. Like it's crazy how much money you can make. It's no reason to treat someone else like their property or without any respect. Like I just thought that was terrible. But I've seen multiple times like just in the store and like people just getting loud and yelling. And I understand firsthand how frustrating it can be. And you just never know if it's like a good expat, a bad expat. You just didn't know. And it was just like cringy sometimes. So number 5, the expats. The number 4 negative thing would definitely be water. And I know that seems silly, but I'm someone who loves water. Like water, the way people that like a crisp beer or a nice Coca-Cola is how I feel about water. And you can't drink the water from the tap there. You always have to get like one of those big like water cooler water jug things. But I didn't like not having all the water I wanted whenever I wanted water to drink. So you can't drink the tap water there. So I would say the number 4 thing that was a major negative for me was water. Number 3 on my list of 5 negative things about living in Nam would be the weather. We got there in January and I remember the very first time I looked up and was like, look at the sun and like individual clouds and not as much smog. I feel like that was like April or May. And it was like really nice from April, maybe like the middle into April to like the middle of June, and then it was unbearably hot. So I just wish there were more. For me, one of the negatives was that it was always so weatherized. Whether it was cold, hot, it was just damp and muggy always. Number 2 on our list of things that were not so great about living in Vietnam, I would say number 2 definitely is in Hanoi, Vietnam specifically. The way that the roads are set up is chaotic. Like it's just crazy. It's just like the roads, and there's always just so many people. Like there were just always so many people everywhere. And I feel like, I mean, I spent a lot of time for my job. I had to travel, and I spent a lot of time traveling down to Ho Chi Minh City. And while in Ho Chi Minh City, I feel like there's equally a lot of people. I just feel like there was more space. Like in Hanoi, it felt like there were a lot of people in a little space. So like if you're going down, like if you're driving somewhere, you have to like look out for everything. Anything can be a thing, you know what I mean? And the number one thing about living in Vietnam that I consider to be the worst thing ever, and I've said this all the time, but the worst thing ever for me about living in Vietnam was in fact the pollution. And I like to recycle, and I like to have, you know, a minimalized carbon footprint, and I'm conscious of these things. I like to, you know, buy only what I need and eat what I have, and I'm very, you know, try to be very conscious of these things. But it felt like, as someone who works and to actively be conscious of the things, it felt like Vietnam was personally just trying to fuck all that up. It was so crazy how polluted it was, like just the things, like things you would never think of, like just throwing anything out in the street, or like using a lot of resources. I don't know, it's just hard to explain, but I just remember being extremely overwhelmed by the lack of, I don't want to say care, but the lack of attention to the environment. And like, because it's like, that's like the globe, like it's everyone's earth. So, you know, we started the list kind of heavy. We just went in there real hard with some negative things. Let me give you some 5 really good things that I liked. I'd even venture to say I loved about living in Vietnam. Number 5. So the first really good thing that I loved about living in Vietnam, I mentioned it before, the money is insane. Like you can make so much money and the cost of living is so low. And the money that you make doing your job that you like, well, I liked my job, I can't say everyone likes their job there, but doing a job that you liked or love, it really makes it worth it because you can save a lot of money. So the number 5 really good thing, which is the most obvious and everyone always mentions, is that you can save so much money and the cost of living is so low. The number 4 thing that was really great about living in Vietnam, I would say, was in Hanoi specifically. I loved that there were a lot of other things you could do very close to the city. So in Hanoi, you could go to like Ba Vi if you wanted to go somewhere on the weekend. You could go to Bac Ninh. I mean, most people don't go to Bac Ninh, but you could. You could go to Ha Long Bay on a weekend trip. Like you could do the Ha Giang Loop if you had like a couple days. Like you were really close to a lot of really cool things in Hanoi, so you didn't have to always take a plane to go somewhere. I really liked the ability to like pop in and out on these little weekend trips. When I first moved to Vietnam, I thought that it was going to be more of like, I'm going to Bali every weekend for weekend trips, but then you see how long Vietnam actually is and where my placement was, and it actually is quite expensive to get from where I was in Vietnam to like any of the really cool places. But where I was in Vietnam was close to a lot of really interesting places that are like just nice green escapes. So anytime I felt like overwhelmed by pollution or the noise or anything like that, we could always go somewhere on a weekend trip and experience nature, clean air, and a little bit of peace from like the chaos that was in Hanoi. The number 3 thing that I would say was really cool, interesting, and / good about living in Vietnam was the lifestyle. Like it gave us an opportunity to have a lifestyle that we never could have had ever. Like the lifestyle was lush as hell. I would get my eyelashes done in my bed. I would get waxed at my house. I would get my nails done weekly. I would get massages for an hour and a half every week. I would get facials. I got my food made in my house. I had a cleaning lady, personal dog walker, a motorbike. Like it was a lush lifestyle. Like we had just, because of the cost of living and because of our paychecks, we were able to have such a large amount of disposable income, which was an amazing experience to have because it's not normal. In my experience, it hasn't been my experience to have a lot of money just left over and not have to worry. It wasn't a worry of like, oh, well, this, you know what I mean? And I didn't eat like that or spend like that all the time, but just having experienced that for almost 2 years was dope. Like I don't know when I'll ever have that experience again. It was still very much something that was such a unique experience that I'm not sure I could do it again. Not sure that I would have that opportunity, like we would have the opportunity again, and it was amazing. So I would say that the lifestyle, definitely. So the number 2 thing that was crazy, sexy, cool, and kind of dope about living in Hanoi, Vietnam was the city was made for hustlers. Like if you wanted to, like, if you had a hustle, you literally could make it your thing. Like you could live off of your hustle. And I am here for anywhere that lets you live outside of the box. Whatever you can dream up, you can do. And I am here for a place that like cultivates that kind of like startup mentality, like hustlers mentality. Like it was really cool to see what people did with their free time when given a lot of extra money, a lot of time, and like encouragement. Like people really level up there, and I thought that was super dope how people could come and leave with different skills or use their skills to like transition from like the classroom to having a full-time hustle doing something else. The dopest concept ever. So number 2 is definitely hustle. My number 1 choice for the thing that was the absolute best part of living in Hanoi, Vietnam would be the people. I know. I know you weren't expecting that. I know nobody was expecting that. I know everyone's seen the video of me crying on the internet about how I hated it. I don't think anyone expected that my number 1 good thing about being in Vietnam would be the people. But let me tell you what I mean. So when I say the people that I interacted with most frequently were incredible. Insanely incredible. I have not met expats or locals in any place that I visited that amazing. Seriously. Like my team was amazing. Like I loved my team. Like I will literally never forget any of them. Hello Dat. What's up Huyen? Hey Phoebe. Lily, love you girl. Like you'll never forget. I will never forget any of those 4 people because I love them. Like I love those kids. They're not kids, they're like young adults, but I love them. Even like my very first manager when I got there, Miss Ha, when I remember walking into the center after Andres and I decided we were gonna walk there. We had no idea where we were just trying to figure out this crazy city. We come in, I'm sweating, Andres is sweating, and she just walks up to me and gives me the biggest hug, and it's like how excited she was that I was here and how she wanted to take us out to get dinner, and like, it was just so nice. The people that didn't know me and the people that I didn't interact with, the Vietnamese people I'm talking specifically about now, that didn't know me and I interacted with them from afar, I had a lot of negative experiences. But the Vietnamese people that I knew and the Vietnamese people that I interacted with on a regular, at work and in life, were amazing. They were like incredible humans. Likewise, the expats, I know I said that was a negative thing, but some of the expats are like those cringeworthy expats. But the other expats that I met were amazing. Like I met people that will forever be my friends or forever be people that I care about and are in my community. I was just sitting here thinking about how lonely I am and how sad it is, and then reflecting on in Vietnam it wouldn't be like that because the tribe of people that I knew and that I met and that I had was incredible. Then Andres and I actually had a family of people. Like we had a family. If I didn't call them, or if someone didn't hear from me, or if you didn't hear from somebody, we like checked on each other. We had dinners together. We went and did things with each other. We cried with each other. We laughed with each other. Like the community, the family that we had was incredible. And there is no way, looking back on my almost 24 months there, that we could have made it at all without every single person that was within our tribe, our family, and our workplace. No way. So, for that reason, I will say the number 1 thing that I loved about Vietnam was the people. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Hit the notification bell because I'm not sure what time the videos are coming out and you wanna know when they drop because they're gonna be hot like fire, okay? Litty like a titty. You got me? Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.